Hi, everybody. It is November 21, 2024. Hello. How are you? I'm experiencing symptoms every single day, and I do believe that they are related to electromagnetic frequencies and all of the spraying. Yeah. Anybody else identify? Anybody else experiencing symptoms? I don't like it. Angelos, Geo Factor 3, Tony Punch, Rage Against the Machine. Hello. Hi. Analog Synth Player, Amber Eyes, ML, Andrew Cruz, Hope Springs Eternal. Yeah. Tom Tomata, Dude, Ain't Buying It, James B, Max Maximus, and B-Dub. Up your vitamin D. Yeah. Louisiana Skywatch, hi. And we have Julie, hi. Patricia White and BMCC and Barb in Ohio. Wendy B, Steve Ladner, Bronwyn Pinette, hi. Joni, hi. And DS88. Yeah, it is very hard to point to one particular cause of anything that you are feeling today, but that's part of the agenda, right? Hell, doctors won't even engage in conversation about all of the poisons that we are subjected to on a daily basis that might be, well, a cause or related to how we're feeling. How crazy is that? It is very crazy. So there's a lot going on. World War III again, and a whole lot of crime, man. Wow. Whole lot of people going homeless, displaced. Oh boy. All of the craziness regarding the migrants and, yeah, Trump and his picks, and oh, the Trumpers are at it and they're wow, 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 wow. I don't feel that. Got to be very careful. You got to scrutinize. You have to have a squinty eye towards all of these people. But if you look at what they do as opposed to what they say, you might get an indication of what they're about. So if the words don't match the actions, the words people speak don't match the actions of that person, they're full of it. They are full of it. DS88. Hi. Silent Walk. Hi. So take a look. Oh, whoa, what was that? Gotta put you on too. Boom. Boom. Wow. Wow. Now, mainstream media, those meteorologists would probably say that, well, what's happening on radar here is a whole lot of lightning bugs are coming out of a cave and crashing into one another and making all of those different colors. Very dangerous, Salt Lake. Very dangerous for you, Utahns, Nevadans, Wyomingans, Idahoans, and Northwest Coloradans. Look at this. Very dangerous. So, do you see how it's amazing that this atmospheric river just hits a wall? It hits a wall on the Nevada border, and it ain't coming any further east. Well, electromagnetic frequencies can do that. So, sure do wish like I had a handbook that told me what they were doing with all of these extremely low frequencies, very powerful. The different colors represent different frequencies. So what are they? What's the objective here? We can only guess. And we have our very large, I don't know, slow-moving hurricane still going on, but it's moved east. So you're getting a little bit of precipitation for the fires in Northeast and Massachusetts and New York and Connecticut and New Jersey, but not enough. Not enough to do anything about that drought and the water shortages because of the drought. Yes, we need to restrict people. They can't use water just willy-nilly. They have to be restricted. They have to be controlled. Look at this. Come on, guys. Come on. Let's just have people begin to question things. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to question things. 0 active severe weather warnings. Very good. Very good. So, you got some in Northeast Ohio? What'd you get? Barb. But let's move on. Oh my God, you're kidding. United Nations latest climate agenda sparks alarms over online censorship. Oof. As if they aren't censoring people for not going along with the official narrative. Let's see. Now, United Nations is engaging in yet another effort that can easily slip into a tool for bolstering online censorship. Earlier in the week, yes, the Global Initiative for Information Integrity on Climate Change was launched during a G20 summit to combat climate change disinformation and take aim at social media. In particular, this type of disinformation is running rampant, said UNESCO Director General Azule. Will they do the same with climate change as they did with COVID? Okay, you wake up in the morning, you get a message from YouTube. Sorry, but your channel just got deleted. Well, every channel of mine will go down. Oh, but wait, Trump is coming into office. And Elon Musk is kind of walking, right on his heels. And wow, they're going to save the day. Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who addressed the summit, also contributed to building the dramatic and alarmist narrative around both issues, climate and disinformation, when he, in a social media post, complained about, quote, coordinated disinformation campaigns impeding global progress on climate change. Oh, the countries that have joined in this effort: Chile, Denmark, France, Morocco, Sweden, and the UK. They will collectively contribute to the United Nations, raising $10 to $15 million to fund research and awareness campaigns, but also to advocate and have all of these people, these advocacy groups, and what's referred to as a communication strategy to help achieve the initiative's goals. Just censor the hell out of people who don't speak false science. Oh, you got that? Don't speak false science. In other words, they actually speak facts, truth, and real science. Clearly treating the climate change theories as scientific fact, that's all you can do, because there's a consensus. And hey, the jury came back with their verdict and said climate change is a happening thing. It's fact, it's truth, and anybody who says anything that doesn't jive with that, off with their head. UNESCO chief also chose to preemptively treat journalists as needing protection from facing risks while reporting on climate issues. The journalists. They're bringing the journalists in. Are they really just bringing journalists in now? Because journalists have been on board with the official narrative. Professionals who abandon their professional role and outright become mouthpieces for the United Nations and various governments in fighting their battles. In this case, the climate change one. Okay, they've been on board doing exactly that. So, can we reduce the amount of money that you need by $1 million? Because you don't have to work to get the journalists. You got them. So the censorship is going to start getting more intense. Yes. Well, can't stand it, but hey. Let's see, what is this? The second bomb cyclone, atmospheric river. The second in 3 days. It's amazing. It's climate change. Yeah. And all of those, lines that you saw on radar, it's just bugs coming out of a cave. Wow. When the population really shows itself as pathetically stupid, you really begin to realize that you are living in a danger zone. Yeah. The second, 2 bomb cyclones and atmospheric rivers in 1 week. It may seem hard to believe, but hey, man, with the technology that man has, can create an awful lot of very destructive weather. Yeah, Mother Nature has the gloves off and will continue to hurl potent storms with gusty winds, big rain, high country snow toward the Pacific coast until the weekend is here. The next bomb cyclone, lasting into Friday, will not be as intense as Tuesday's. That's good, but hey, a holiday, it always comes. Thanksgiving, weather could complicate travel for millions. Do you get that every holiday where people want to travel, this is what happens? Between the snow and the power outages and the bomb cyclone, slick highways, rain, snow. All right, if you're traveling, I hope that you consider the weather, and wherever you're going, you get there safe. So, Into Thin Air, link is in the chat. If you don't know Into Thin Air, I suggest you click on that link and you check out Into Thin Air. And here he goes. Where is he?
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
All right, my friends, we got to talk about the northeast of the United States and this winter storm that will likely begin in just a few hours and will extend for the next 24 hours, possibly dumping close to 2 feet of snow in parts of Pennsylvania and New York. All right, so let's check this system out that's over the Great Lakes right now. It's a nor'easter type situation. Once I grab this dial and move us forward here, you can see it's wrapping around the Great Lakes and now shifting much farther east and is about to pull that tail up to cause all the snow. Now, if you take a look, we can see the moisture band coming up like this and then wrapping around, and then we see all the cold air coming with it, which is being pulled down from Canada, swooping around, and then pulled back into the northeast. Once that meets, that's when we're going to start seeing the effects of the heavy snow. This was a very similar setup to what we saw on the west coast just the other day with the bomb cyclone that was moving in from the Pacific. That also caused a lot of rain, wind, and snow in the northwest, and now we have a very similar situation taking place in the northeast. All right, and as far as the most updated data, we have a low pressure system sitting here off the eastern coast, which is actually sucking some of the moisture tail from this low pressure system over the Great Lakes. So we're getting a flow backwards and forwards from both of these systems. Now, if we move forward, you can see that cold air again sweeping underneath and up into the northeast, causing the snowfall mixing with the moisture. And this is where the heavy snow is going to start, Friday the 22nd. And that's when we start to see a lot of the southeast counties of New York getting completely pummeled. And this may change by a few inches, but the totals that we're seeing are anywhere from 18 to 24 inches of snow in these highlighted areas. So this is a fairly significant storm to get as our first major or significant snowfall. Now, something to keep in mind really quick is the fact that we've had forecasts like this in the past with a very significant snowfall estimated, but then we end up getting nothing but some slushy rain and crappy conditions for 2 days. So that is also very possible. Keep in mind, this is just before Thanksgiving, and as a joke, I put out a tweet saying, is anyone prepared or down for a Thanksgiving blizzard? I was off by a few days, but hey, who cares? The bottom line is that chances are people will be digging themselves out all day tomorrow leading into Saturday, but based on the data we have now, it should be about ending midway through Saturday. It's still going to be cold and windy as these things are going to be wrapping and pulling winds in all different directions, so the Northeast will not be a fun place to be over the next few days. Now, very quickly, I want to highlight the West Coast as well, because the West is going to get hit with another low pressure system even after the bomb cyclone, and you can see that very clear here. A lot of the mountaintops in California, Oregon, Washington are going to be completely hammered with heavy snow, as well as the atmospheric river that is currently coming into central and northern California. You can see those deep blue colors right there. Those are the Sierra Nevada mountains getting totally smashed with snowfall, and then we see that system starting to move across the northwest into the north central part of the country. And then later on, we will discuss what effects those will have on the northeast moving forward. We will have another situation that brews because of that. You can see that kind of right here, but a little too far ahead to really get any sort of good detail. All right, now I know that's a lot of stuff to take in, but we're dealing with 3 different low pressure systems, one in the Atlantic, one in the Pacific, and then one over the Great Lakes. All 3 of these are feeding off each other and having a major cause and effect. So that is why things are so wild right now, and it's actually hard to forecast this stuff. Believe it.
Yes, it is hard. And they can move about the jet streams, extremely low frequencies. Oh, they can move about the air masses and the low and high pressure systems. And yeah, they can do it all. And they've been doing it all. All right, link again in the chat. So, hope you listened, Northeasterners. You're going to be getting a lot of snow, or maybe not. That's the forecast. Yeah. Israel, Tel Aviv, Haifa, severe flooding.
Heavy rains hit Israel, causing widespread flooding in the streets of Haifa, as well as Tel Aviv and surrounding areas. Intense rainfall recorded over the past few hours has caused severe flooding. There were reports of stranded cars and water flowing into houses in the city. Like it if you think that we need to protect nature, because this is the main problem of humanity.
Wow.
The more likes, the more people will know it.
And Venezuela.
Like it if you think that we need to protect nature, because this is the main problem of humanity. The more likes, the more people will know it. After heavy rain in the afternoon in the capital, a drain at the Perez de Leon hospital in Petar collapsed and the emergency area was flooded. Firefighters manually located the drains and, together with civil protection personnel, restored the hospital's operation. The ED remains closed at this time and new emergency patients will be treated at the second medical center headquarters.
Wow. So Ecuador, not far away, is experiencing a real bad drought. Well, the subscriber that I speak to has no water or electricity. They do the hydroelectric, right? And so hydro water. And when you don't have much water, then they cut off your electricity. But Venezuela is getting quite the flooding, right? The weather terrorists. New Jersey reservoir that supplies water to over 1 million residents is at a historic low. Oh boy. Yes, they can create these droughts. They can actually pull water from lakes and rivers and reservoirs.
Here in New Jersey, evidence of the drought can be seen all over the state. It's making a historic mark. This is on the Manasquan Reservoir. It's at its lowest level in 30 years when it was first.
You notice this cloud? Wow, it's like a blanket cloud that is just thrown over. See the edge of the blanket? Manufactured. That's why these people, you don't have to spend any money getting them to work your agenda.
Filled. News 4's Adam Harding live now. Adam, really, truly an incredible sight behind you.
Natalie, this one really is remarkable. If ever there was a visual representation of what this drought has done to this region, look no further than the Manasquan Reservoir behind us right now. We are not supposed to be standing where we are. This is typically underwater, but tonight, because they have not seen rain in months, conditions are only getting drier. It's a sign of our unusually dry stretch of weather. The water all but gone in parts of the Manasquan Reservoir.
We've never seen it this low, and a lot of the birds are looking for water because there's just no water around.
The reservoir hasn't been this low since it was built, the extreme drought providing fuel for wildfires across the tri-state area.
We're trying to conserve water because of the shortage and all of that. We definitely need some rain. There's been a lot of fires in the area.
That's the terrible part. I feel so bad for these people.
There's no words for it, for almost 3 months now without any steady rain.
And none of them know. None of them know. And if you try to engage them in adult conversation about what really is taking place, they probably wouldn't listen. That's why they're a danger. Now, I'm making a presumption about these people, but what I'm not really talking specific to them, just most, and especially up in the Northeast. Yeah, there's a lot of arrogance up there, and they believe that they're the smartest in the world. I'm from the Northeast. I'm from that kind of social network. Drought puts New Jersey drinking water supply in jeopardy. Okie dokie. Restrictions are coming, guys, in New Jersey. Crews respond to possible gas-related home explosion. Another home explodes, this one in Michigan. And after I showed the homes exploding on the live, I ended the live and I come across this.
And the flames are all heading towards my condo, but they seem to be going down. And
where are your car keys?
Right here. I'm afraid to move my car.
Okie dokie. Crane falls onto a house. New Jersey.
Some breaking news that's happening in New Jersey. Let's go to Dan Rice in Chopper 2 over Montville, where a crane tipped over onto a house. Dan.
And Christine, that house on Westminster Drive, this all took place at around 3:30 this afternoon. Crews are working on trees on the property. You can see some of these trees on the top of your picture there where they were cutting limbs off of those trees when some sort of mechanical mishap happened, and that crane came crashing down across the house that you see in your video here. Now, the truck is sitting here in the driveway there. The boom crane that it was using, it was fully extended, went across the backside of that house here, across the entire house. It came crashing down into the backyard. Now, obviously, with the the sun setting there, the sunlight going away, it's a little hard to see all the action happening down there. First off, we'll tell you no injuries. That's the good news. But you do have the utility crews, fire department out here. You have another crane company out here. They're going to try to lift that arm off of the house. And in doing so, they do have the fire department out there putting water on the house in case of any sparks. You don't want any other mishaps happening. So crews out there with their hands full here in Montville.
Oh, okay. Why are cranes also falling? A whole lot of cranes seem to be falling in the recent years. They just fall onto buildings, crash through the buildings, fall onto houses. Nothing seems to be working very well. Western North Carolina. Why is the government making this so painful?
To see North Carolina 7 weeks later still look like the flood just happened, except the waters just recently receded, is shocking. The only areas that you saw any sort of real cleanup was on private property that could afford to bring in front end loaders, diggers, claws, skid trucks, whatever they needed to clean up or burn stuff. But the downtown area of downtown Asheville, especially along Swannanoa, on a piece of the Big Toe or the North Toe River that feeds into the French Broad, all this stuff, to see that still just piled high with debris and one claw truck working the day I was there filming again, after having filmed there multiple times, was so disheartening and crushing. And I mean, it's psychological warfare on these people, frankly. You pay taxes. Why isn't your county funding multiple trucks out there? What is taking so long to clean up? The people have already cleaned all of their businesses and put everything out, yet the waste and refuse is still piled high everywhere. The rivers and stuff are still full of debris. How is it taking this long to clean up? Where is the money from the federal government? Where is FEMA? Well, I have a whole story on that. So I think if I'm living there and I'm witnessing a Democrat-run town and a Democrat-run county, and I'm seeing this, I'm asking myself, is this in fact the government that of, by, and for the people, or what is this? And why are they making this so painful? Why is it that they don't really want us to feel like we can live again down here and function as we once were prior to this, catastrophic downpour of 30 inches of rain and then a hurricane, Cat 2 roaring through mountains, when was the last time that happened? So disheartening, very disheartening.
Psychological warfare. Okay, well, it definitely has a psychological effect when you see no government agencies coming to clean up the roads and take away the debris. But it's not just Western North Carolina. This is happening all over our country. FEMA just seems to be coming up short in an awful lot of areas. Like, Chester County. This is this is Western North Carolina, WCNC. Well, then I'll play the other areas.
It's been nearly 2 months since Helene rolled through the Carolinas, and some communities are still picking up the pieces.
But listen to this broadcast, okay? This is FEMA, and listen. It's so pathetic. This is an area that is not really the areas that are dealing with the massive, the landslides, the massive flooding, the homes literally just floating on down the river, towns wiped out. FEMA, FEMA's so good, right? This was today, a broadcast today. So I think with the FEMA hearing yesterday, I think they're trying very hard to, portray themselves as actually doing something. But now we're nearly 2 months in.
Today, people in Chester County got the opportunity to speak to FEMA representatives one-on-one to find out what options they have.
WCNC Charlotte's Anna King spoke with the residents about the damage they are still dealing with and what they hope will come.
Yeah, some people told me following Helene, they lost power for multiple days and they're just now getting things back in order. And they told me after speaking with FEMA, they're excited to see what they can do to help cover that process.
There was a lot of trees down, falling on houses, blocking roads.
A lot of rain, lots of wind, a lot of down trees.
People in Chester County are still picking up the pieces following the aftermath of Hurricane Helene.
But what most people are looking at is damage to their houses, help with that, damage to appliances caused by the power outages, anything that was related to the power outages and damage to their homes.
The area saw heavy winds.
And what are you doing for them?
Trees uprooted and power outages that caused damage that folks are still coming back from 2 months later.
It messed my refrigerator up. I had to replace my refrigerator. My stove, the computer on my stove, it messed up, and I had to replace my stove. And I couldn't afford, to replace stuff like that.
Now, FEMA representatives are making their way through the county, and people are getting to speak with these representatives one-on-one to get information on what options they have.
It means a lot, especially for people that have lower incomes that may not have had money to pay insurance, that had lost food that they may have had in their refrigerator and freezer.
And let's just see if it actually comes to pass. 2 months in, and FEMA, hey, we're here. Come see us. We'll tell you what the options are. $750. Have you heard anybody getting that? So here, all right, FEMA on Hermit's Peak Canyon fire. It's amazing that people are still waiting after years for their claims to be processed and they finally get what they deserve. Now, I don't know how long it has been for. Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire. That's actually a fire I don't think I've heard. Albuquerque, New Mexico. So that might have been last year, or could it have been early this year? Well, the fires, I'm sorry, there's been a lot of them.
Senator Martin Heinrich pressed federal officials today on the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire claims process. That fire destroyed 900 structures, including hundreds of homes in northern New Mexico back in 2022. It began as a prescribed burn. The federal government set aside billions of dollars to help people recover from the damage. But during a Senate appropriations hearing on Capitol Hill today, Senator Heinrich says many people are still waiting for FEMA to complete their claims for compensation. He asked the FEMA administrator what they're doing about it.
We continue to bring in our staffing and ensure that we have the right amount of people, the right amount of resources
It seems like the people who are hit the hardest, though, are at the tail end of getting compensated. That the simple claims have moved, and the more complicated but also more devastating claims are often the ones that are not getting done in a.
Wow.
Want to have the appropriate amount of staff.
The FEMA administrator says to date they have paid $1.5 billion in claims.
Well, claims for what? For that fire? Who knows? Oh, doesn't matter what they say. It only matters what they do. Waiting for rebuild. Families still picking up the pieces following Hurricane Irma. All right, guys, when was Hurricane Irma? Oh, boy. It was when 2017. Was it 2017? 2017. That's a long time ago. Okay.
New tonight, a Florida congressman is asking for answers after our year-long waiting for rebuild investigation. He wants details about the federal government's oversight of billions of dollars of your taxpayer money.
It is intended to help those whose homes were devastated by hurricanes. Congressman John Rutherford sent this letter to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that oversees the funds. He is asking HUD, what's the process to make sure the funds are being properly used?
For the past year, 10 Investigates Jennifer Titus has exposed questionable spending and broken promises. Families who were told their new homes would take months, tonight still living in hotel rooms as the deadline to complete them continues to be pushed back.
So this is home.
Yes,
This mom of four has been living in a hotel room.
this is home for us. This is my son's little area. Over here is my daughter's area. He's a little more together than she is, believe it or not. He's a little more organized.
Katoya Wright says she initially signed up in 2018. Then 3 years later, she got her official paperwork from Rebuild Florida.
They told us 6 months to a year.
Waiting 6 years for her home, time feels like it's at a standstill.
It's really hard, because they're kids. So you don't want them running, you don't want them talking too loud. I get so emotional talking about the holidays, the birthdays. It's all spent here. And so you feel like you have nowhere to really go.
10 Investigates spent nearly a year going over the program's contracts. From Katoya's to Jane Moore's in Tampa to Brenda Hughes in Clearwater, what we uncovered? Questionable contractor spending, scope of works doubling, tripling, even quadrupling. At one point, the former Secretary of Economic Opportunity even reached out to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, saying there wasn't enough money to complete all the homes.
It's taxpayers' money.
We sent our findings to the Project on Government Oversight, a nonpartisan watchdog group.
It is simply insufficient when it comes to real robust oversight, which is what's needed here.
And then there are the mounting hotel bills. Mary Simpson stayed in a hotel for almost a year. Jane Moore says she and her partner were in a hotel for 433 days. For Katoya Wright, it's been 3 years.
That is necessities for right now, and that's kind of all you can fit in here.
So how much is all of this costing? Katoya's room averages $120 a night. You multiply that by just 30 days, the state is paying over $3,000 a month for the rights to stay here, all while the state refused to allow them to just rent a home. A quick look at what's available in their neighborhood is far below the cost of a hotel stay.
It's 4 bedrooms and so it's supposed to be 2 full baths.
The Wrights met us in their neighborhood to see the construction. Katoya.
Hi, how are you, Senator Jones?
We also had State Senator Chevron Jones meet us there. Katoya's home is in his district.
The state, we owe her an apology. I also think we owe it to these individuals to follow through on what we said that we were going to do. And the fact that she's been in this predicament for 7 years, it falls on the state.
When 10 Investigates.
When your words don't match your actions, you're just full of shit. 7 years for this woman? Oh my God. And they can't seem to complete building her home, rebuilding after Hurricane Irma in 2017. Do not think that people are able to recover. Oh, it might be, 6 months of inconvenience or even a year. Oh, very wrong. Ashe County family ditches profits to assist Helene survivors. And I love it. And I think this is the kind of stuff that people do to get out of this, satanic system. You ditch the matrix and you begin doing what's right.
An Ashe County Family Entertainment Center to change its business model.
Instead of opening its doors for kids to come and play, they're opening their hearts. WCNC Charlotte's Nick Sturdivant shows us how they are seeking solutions and helping people impacted get back on their feet free of charge.
The team is hard at work here in West Jefferson.
These folks don't stop. I have to force them to get a bottle of water. And
in constant motion.
This is all brand new: hats, scarves, gloves, socks. Everything was shut down and quiet about 5 o'clock last night. And I ended up staying until 7-ish or something, just having a meal with some of our volunteers who were still here late. And it's like, oh, we can break down one more pallet. Then we had volunteers who stayed here till 3 a.m.
These days, Jen Byland, the volunteers, and her daughter, Taylor Lennon, are seemingly always on the clock.
I'm normally here by 6:20 in the morning, and that gives me time to gather my bearings. We have some volunteers that have come here and they sleep here.
And we do receiving from the doors on this side.
Oh, man.
So it's a big operation that's semi-organized.
Prior to this, Jen and Taylor ran a different kind of operation.
You're in what used to be Jimmy and Jean's Family Entertainment Center.
A furniture store, an accounting office, and a cleaning company.
Hurricane Helene not only changed the lives of so many people here in Western North Carolina, but Jen and Taylor's business strategy. With their 70,000 square foot building still intact.
We've got power, we've got water, we've got internet. I said, I have 5 kids myself, so I said, I'm gonna put it in our team reach chat that they can come here, check on their loved ones, eat a plate of spaghetti.
They decided to open their doors to anyone in need.
Within 5 days, it looked like this.
And we have been going every day.
Flipping it into a mass distribution relief center called the Hub of Hope Disaster Relief, providing everyday essentials.
And you're not making a profit off of this?
No, not a penny.
Do you even think about? I don't want to overwhelm you at all, but
no, we do. I mean, we have to think about it because the bills keep coming in.
Yeah.
There's a mortgage, there's utility bills, there's water bills, dumpster bills.
Yeah.
Private donors have been a godsend so far.
As the donations come in from across the country, with the team here, there hasn't been much time to stop and reflect, but they say they know they're moving in the right direction.
Do you feel like this is your purpose?
Right now, it absolutely is our purpose. I think this is where we're supposed to be.
In Ashe County, Nick Sturdivant, WC.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Very cool. Yes, these are powers of example that I am presenting. What a world. What a world we could be living in. We could be living in if people just did the right thing. Yeah. Vomit charity. You have rights. You are not a charity. Okay. So fiber. Oh boy. Arizona. And I played a video. I included a video in a live maybe about a week ago about this fiber optic installation company that is, well, installing fiber optic in this community. And oops, they cut into some woman's sewer line, and sewage started backing up into her house. And now this. No, this can't be, but it is. Okay, something's very wrong.
Tonight, more complaints against a company installing fiber optic lines in Gilbert as part of the town's brand new program to bring that service there. One resident told 12 News, our journalist Chase Golightly, the line is completely exposed, and I saw some video of it there, Chase. So you actually got this. This homeowner reached out to us after you saw a story about something else like this with this same company. What's going on?
That's right, Troy. He's talking about this one we covered last week, where a Gilbert home was flooded after the family said the installation company drilled through a sewage line and flooded their home. While this case we're talking about tonight isn't as severe, the homeowner says he's having trouble getting his problem fixed.
they didn't clean the dirt up.
When Don Prather learned his Gilbert neighborhood was getting high-speed internet through fiber optic,
We were certainly excited about it.
what he's not happy with is how it was installed.
It's a bit of a mess,
That fiber optic cable that's supposed to be buried,
and it's just completely exposed.
saying this has been going on for months. When workers first came out to install,
They actually laid the fiber right across the top of the driveway, and we had to drive over it for a month or so.
then when he called the company to have them fix it,
They put some not great looking caulk down and some duct tape.
which isn't doing the job.
That's the cable right there. You can see it wanting to pop out already.
You still have wire exposed right there.
Yes, there's a good 5 or 6 feet of wire there. We were worried about families and kids tripping over it.
Prather says he's called 3 times to have them bury the line, but nothing happened. In one case, his work order was closed, with officials saying they did bury it, but as you can see, that's not the case.
It's very frustrating. Like I said, it's dangerous and unsightly, and we just would like to get it fixed the right way.
The company responsible for this installation is Tilson, the same company that another Gilbert family said caused their home to flood with sewage after workers drilled into a sewage line while installing the cable.
Definitely not good quality work.
We reached out to Tilson about the work and received a statement from Gigapower, the company that hired Tilson to do the construction on its behalf. Part of the statement says, in some cases, a temporary drop is established and will be buried thereafter. If the customer requires maintenance on their installation, please encourage them to reach out directly to their provider, which Prather has, and this is what he's left with.
It's definitely not acceptable.
Now, walking around that neighborhood, I did see at least one other home that appeared to have the same issues. You can see right here with that fiber optic cable totally exposed. But again, it was just cocked down like what we were seeing with the person we were.
All right. Are you getting it now? Are you getting it? That things that we're used to, years ago, just don't happen anymore? That's laying the fiber optic. Like, okay, well, duct tape it to your driveway. I don't even know. It seems as if a whole lot of this is deliberate, because you would think, well, anybody doing this work would know that that's not the way to do the work. But do people just not care? I mean, what the hell is going on? It's really, well, I think an awful lot of people just don't care about the Americans that they're providing a service for. And a driver tries to run over a snowman in Kentucky. Why would someone in a truck want to drive over a snowman? But he did get a surprise.
A Kentucky homeowner calls it instant karma. He says a driver tried to run over a 9-foot snowman that he built outside of his home. But as Ken Brown reports, Frosty got the last laugh.
This towering triple stack of snowballs in northern Kentucky has a lot of character, much like the people who built it. This snowman was packed with purpose by Cody Lutz, his fiancée Lucy, and his soon-to-be sister-in-law, because this weekend marked several new snow experiences for 2 of the newest Petersburg homeowners.
We were playing in the snow. She's from Mississippi, so this is the most snow she's ever seen in her entire life. I'm from Buffalo, so this is no big deal. I love the snow.
Lutz loves it so much that he took snowman building to the extreme, using a massive tree stump as the base for their top hat-topped creation.
I went to work on Monday, and I came home to this on Monday night, which is, the irony is pretty funny.
Someone saw the soon-to-be Lutz family's creation and tried to fracture Frosty at the front end of their truck. But they quickly realized their mistake when the plowed-away snow showed Frosty's roots.
Instant karma, Ken. It's hilarious. What goes around comes around, in good ways, in bad ways. So I guess probably everybody learns a valuable lesson here from Frosty.
There may be a couple of lessons in here. believe in karma, and smile through the tough times. Frosty sure is.
I think he.
Why? What the hell is wrong with people? I wish I could understand. Now, this is also related to climate change, Agenda 2030, what's happening in the UK with their farmers, and it's not good. Listen to what is happening to the farmers in the UK. This is a inheritance tax that will leave the farmers, well, pretty much unable to pass their farms to the next generation when they die.
I haven't appreciated how expensive it is to have a farm, and the little amount of money we've got to pay the tax. And that's the position we find ourselves in. Now, if somebody was a 60-year-old, they might be able to get life insurance, they might be able to plan. We can't plan. My dad drops dead in 2 years' time, and bizarrely, if he drops dead before April 26, we've got no tax to pay because that's when the new rules come in. So my dad now is sat there thinking, well, if I die before April 26, I save my family £500,000. And if I die after that, I'm leaving them with a £500,000 debt. And that's the situation that Downing Street and number 11 have put us in.
Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the new tax and the mainstream media's reaction, let's hear from the other farmers I met in Westminster.
Hi there, so you're a farmer?
Yes, yeah.
Where have you come down from today?
By Banbury, Oxfordshire.
And what kind of farm do you have?
I got a sheep farm.
Sheep farm?
Yes.
Is it a family farm?
It is, yeah, family farm, family run.
How long's it been in the family?
Oh gosh, generations. At least 4 or 5 generations, definitely.
Really? And
Yes.
how does this budget affect you?
Hugely. If it goes ahead, then it will be the end of the farm completely for the family.
End of the farm?
The end of the farm, yes. It'll have to be sold indefinitely.
What kind of farm do you have?
So we have a mixed farm, arable and livestock.
And whereabouts in the country?
So we're in Northamptonshire on the border of Rutland and Corby.
Yeah. And what's compelled you to come down to London then?
We are slap bang in the firing line for this. My father's in ill health. All the land is in his name. This is sort of so we'd be 3rd generation farmers. And if he died once this tax comes in, we would have to find £400,000 overnight.
Okay.
And the only way we can do that is sell the farm is we've had to diversify a lot because it never makes any money. We've had to push into other things. And realistically, we just want to farm the ground, make an honest living out of it. And with this coming through, I wouldn't then be able to pass it on to my son afterwards because it just won't be viable.
It's about food sustainability as well. We do care. We care about our animals. We care about our land. It's been generations of farming, and it's all going to be lost. And it's the fact that the government don't seem to care where food is coming from. There's no credibility anymore. They're happy for us to import food. That's more food miles.
Yeah.
You know, you've just seen how many people are here, and that's not everybody, because most of us are at home working.
Yeah.
A lot of people couldn't get here today, and it's a real shame that the government aren't even interested in listening. They're not even here. They're not representing at all. They're hiding. The people who's going to end up footing the bill will be the end user, the person who buys the food. Bills are going to have to go up. The people who are going to buy the farms are going to be developers, so the land won't get farmed properly.
Yeah.
It's a waste.
If it's not dealt with in the right way, bits will have to be sold to cover the tax. Yeah.
How many generations have been in the family?
We are 5th generation farmers and 3 generations where we are now.
Okay, so how is it affecting your
based on I'm the 3rd generation, so there's 3 generations to go down. Based on this, by looking at it, if it carries on, I shan't have the farm. I shall end up having to work out either a new job or trying to figure out where to go from here.
Do you see how government is a criminal organization that a whole lot of us have just submitted to? Okay, come take my money. You want more money? Take it. Another tax? Okay, increasing taxes? Okay, take it all. Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer, I'm determined to deliver growth, create wealth, and put more money in people's pockets. Gee, sounds like a whole lot of the Democrats here. Yeah. No. What he's actually doing, sorry, my eye is very itchy. What he's actually doing is taking more and more money out of people's pockets. He's so happy that he tweeted this. This can only be achieved by working in partnership with leading businesses like BlackRock. BlackRock. Okay. I think you all know BlackRock. Okay. How do we get rid of these people? Because they really are doing a number. The fraud of climate change and the drive for control. I will just link to this article. I was trying to clean up my bookmark files today and came across a number of things, but yeah, climate change. This is why the UN is now doubling their efforts to make sure that they shut everybody up who goes against the official narrative, because it's a fraud. Link is in the chat if you want to circulate the article, but what? Oh my God. Years ago, posting on this 2012 global warming fight could turn skies brighter, whiter. Haven't they done that? Brighter and whiter. Oh, Science Daily. Geoengineering for global warming, increasing aerosols in atmosphere would make sky whiter. Well, I'm sorry, I clicked off that article, but hey, there you go. And yeah, gee, I think we're living that. This was this morning at 8:30 Idaho time. It I believe got up to 50 degrees here, which is, well, we're in the third week of November. Do you see all of that black stuff in the sky, black carbon dust? A very cheap ingredient for them to create atmospheric heating. You like that? Isn't that gorgeous? 8:35. Look at all of that black crap. Everything looks toxic. White, white, white. Or black, black, black. Or pink, orange, rust. All of the spraying. This is at 12:46 p.m. today. The microwaves that you can see right here too. I don't want that thing there. Look at this. Our lovely sky. And the symptoms that come along with all of this spraying it's countless. The list is just never ending. Beautiful, right? How many of you have had a white sky? Look at the microwaves there. Look at this. Oh, how so lovely. You know I'm being facetious, right? Right. And they just kept coming. They just kept coming. Did anybody see Mike Decker's video that he posted today? Man, Mike Decker has a great camera. Look at all of the microwaves, the nanoparticulates, and all of the metals and chemicals and a whole lot more, the nanobots that we've been breathing in, how they can also use the frequencies to control a lot of people, to control their thoughts, their opinions, their behavior, their physical health for sure. Another one comes up screaming. Anyone who is baby boomer or Gen X, even millennials, but I'll give them a break. Anyone who thinks that this is, the sky that we used to have, I'm glad you're not in front of me. Nice white sky. Yeah. And more, and look how they spread out those lines. So the atmosphere, which is also down here, we breathe in all of this. We're breathing in all of it. And it's causing an awful lot of harm to an awful lot of people. And that I don't think is fair. And a whole lot of people are sick with, whatever diagnose, or maybe not even a diagnose that they have. They won't attribute it to what they see being sprayed, or what is also very visible are the microwaves in the cloud, but none of that stays up in the sky, comes down. We're saturated in like deadly poisons, trying to live our lives with a whole lot of people who are really struggling physically. How about mentally, spiritually? Yeah, it's bad. Okay, it's really friggin' bad. And of course, once again, dozens of human cases of bird flu. Oh my God. It's jumped species to the two-legged.
In today's Health Watch, new cases of the bird flu are raising alarms among health officials. 53 confirmed human cases across 7 states this year alone. But this week, health officials in California are reporting a possible case in a child who had no known contact with an infected animal.
Oh.
More on that. Let's bring in CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder. Dr. Gounder, thank you for being here. No known contact with an infected animal. Why is that so important?
This is important because we are wondering, how did this child get infected? So the other two most likely sources would be a wild bird or a human. If it's a human, that means that there is human-to-human transmission going under the radar. And that is one of the signs of something that could, a virus that could be on the verge of becoming pandemic when you have human-to-human transmission.
So there's also a teen in Canada hospitalized with bird flu, also wasn't known to have had contact with infected animals. So is there a relationship here between bird flu, cattle-related illnesses, and then the human transmission?
Yes, there is. So a couple things that were notable about that teen in Canada. One, again, we don't know the source. Two, that teenager is critically ill. So this is not a mild case of bird flu like we've seen with other bird flu cases. And three, we've seen mutations in that particular case that would make the virus more easily transmitted from person to person. But big picture, we're seeing bird flu spreading among poultry, wild birds, cattle, humans, and this is really Russian roulette for creating a situation where you have mutations for adaptation to human transmission.
Could we be in a situation where we're facing another pandemic or one that changes our lives?
Well, that's precisely what we're worried about. The two things that we worry about here are one, the human to human transmission piece. The other is a virus to which we don't have pre-existing immunity. So think back to COVID in 2020. We're in a very different world today. But at that time, it was a new virus to which we had no pre-existing immunity. And that's why we worry about animal viruses that we have not developed immunity to before.
And people may not make this connection, so I'm hoping you can. There's a link between bird flu and grocery prices.
So we've had this bird flu outbreak among poultry since 2022. And as a result, we've had to cull over 100 million birds in this country. So those are birds that are laying eggs. Those are the birds that we're eating. And so, of course, that creates shortages and that drives prices up at the grocery store.
Another reason prices may go up. Dr. Singander, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But of course, you can then just switch gears and to World War III. All of the missiles that are being flown, Ukraine, Russia. Oh my God. Everybody on the edge of their seats, right? What I really care about are those who are suffering the consequences presently with all of these agendas, or one agenda or two agendas. They need help. They need help. 85-year-old woman facing homelessness due to foreclosure following a loan modification. How about we just leave the elderly alone? Could we, please?
85-year-old woman is on the verge of being homeless due to foreclosure.
Fox 26's Randy Wallace has this only on Fox report.
It doesn't matter if you live in a 6-bedroom mansion or a 1-bedroom bungalow. The thought of losing your home is devastating, especially if you're a senior citizen.
I take a lot of pride in my home.
Johnny Jefferson decorated her 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom home in an upscale Richmond neighborhood herself.
And this is the kitchen here.
The 85-year-old nurse was one of the first non-physicians to own a medical clinic in the greater Houston area. She's lived here since 2002. What does this home mean to you?
It's my whole life. I have no place else to go. I've put my lifetime saving in this home. All the upgrades that I had all that put in.
Now Johnny's home is in foreclosure.
I never imagined it, that I would be in a situation like this. Never, ever.
Johnny says the foreclosure follows a loan modification in 2012.
Spoke to someone and it was an oral agreement. What ends up being there, it was an oral agreement. They never got it in writing, what they thought they were getting.
That was
an oral agreement on a loan modification. Okay, you are to get that in writing, obviously. But what bank would enter into that and then foreclose on an 85-year-old woman? Oh, God. I just wish people were better than they're turning out to be.
An issue.
A major issue, because with real property, everything needs to be in writing.
Bottom line is get everything in writing, follow up, and as they always say, read the fine print.
I'm really hurt. I'm sick over it. I cannot sleep at night.
Johnny and the bank were disputing the monthly mortgage amounts.
That's the case in most instances. Either they think that they're supposed to pay one thing and the bank says, no, you're supposed to pay more, or they send in the payment, the bank says, okay, you sent in the wrong amount, we're going to resend it to you, and it may even be off by a few cents. The bank is very picky about what the amount is.
Read this right here.
In 2019, the bank filed a motion for summary judgment to take Johnny's house. How upsetting was that for you?
Very upsetting. I had to spend nights in the hospital with anxiety, and I developed depression from this, and it has just ruined my whole life.
Needless to say, Johnny regrets doing a loan modification.
If you could, go ahead and pay your mortgage.
Forget the loan
and forget the loan modification and decide something else to do if you are just trying to keep your home.
These attorneys say they are doing the best they can for Johnny under the circumstances.
We're in federal court, and we're suing for Miss Jefferson to get the equity that she's owed out of her house. The property was worth approximately $1 million. They sold it back to themselves for $600,000, and there's $400,000 out there that's equity that we feel like Miss Jefferson is owed.
These are my grandkids.
Trying to imagine where she would go and what happens to all her belongings is more than Johnny can comprehend.
I have no place to go. Where am I going? I have no place to go.
If you decide to do a loan modification or loan restructure, be sure to get everything in writing.
Okay. Yeah, I could say a lot, but I've said it all before. Bozeman city crews dump homeless people's tents and belongings ahead of new law. There's you would think maybe in Montana they'd have some open space for the homeless. No.
On our live broadcast at 6 o'clock, we're following up after a viewer reached out to us with concerns after seeing Bozeman City staff scoop up tents and other items belonging to the homeless community and throwing the items in a dumpster. NBC Montana's Michael Sanaskoy digs into the problem to find out what's behind it.
Pastor Edward McGore and his team are going around different homeless camps around Montana, cleaning up trash for over 40 days and planning to film a student project in Bozeman. McGore tells me he saw signs saying street cleanup was set to take place last week, but what he saw instead put him in disbelief.
They brought in a gigantic front loader and started grabbing people's tents out of the right-of-way and putting them in a big 40-yard dumpster, which just got hauled off right over here. We got a video of that.
McGore showed me the video of the front loader hauling away people's tents and belongings. He also showed me a video of himself dragging a tent a half a mile back to where they were set up.
They were hoping to come back tonight to sleep in their tent. And it's heartbreaking. Where do we live? You know, and the warming center's already full up.
I drove down to the Public Safety Center to speak to neighborhood services to find out why people's tents and belongings were taken.
With Ordinance 2147, we started a monthly cleanup. What that entails is posting out signs, areas to be clean. They're big orange signs that we put on grade stakes and then post in areas that we intend to clean up. It's not anything out of the ordinary from last Thursday that we've done on a monthly basis.
Bailey says code enforcement officers are out daily checking on campers and tents to make sure they're abandoned before they get removed. However, if a tent gets taken on accident, Bailey encourages folks to reach out to him to get their belongings back. Bailey adds there's a process outlined in state law for the city to hang on to people's belongings for 30 days before getting rid of it.
The new permit system will go into effect this week, and tents will be illegal to have in the public right-of-way. Bailey says code enforcement is doing what they can to ease people into the new law. In Bozeman, Michael Sanaskoy.
They're easing people into the new law by throwing out their tents and belongings. They're doing it just on the heels of this new law coming into effect. We need to change. Who wants change? Yay! I do. Who wants to change? So, Yeah, there's more. There's always more. How about people unable to pay their vets, so they're euthanizing their pets instead, because vets are just as greedy as any other. God, man, do we have one hell of a greedy people. Shit. Gotta wonder, huh? Did this just come about? Or was it always there, just getting worse and worse and worse and worse?
Thousands of dollars in bills, wait lists months long for care, and now people are putting their pets to sleep because they can't afford to take care of them. So this is called economic euthanasia, and it's happening right here in Georgia as the cost of veterinary care continues to soar. Tonight, our very own Caitlin Ross looks into what's causing the rise in price and how you can find more affordable solutions.
You know, came out your jacket.
This little pup has a big place in her family.
So she thinks she's the baby sometimes. Yeah.
The 8-year-old, 8-pound dog plays big.
Yeah, she is very playful. She's a very good protector.
But when Sophia was diagnosed with a bacterial infection months ago, her family felt like they couldn't protect her.
Thanks, Sophie. Oh, pie. It was a very tough situation. My daughter was crying, and I told her I don't know, and Mama's sorry,
5 different vet clinics quoted Shawnice Harris thousands of dollars to save Sophia's life. She knew she couldn't afford it, but couldn't stand to say goodbye to Sophia.
It's like they bullying you to pay their price. And it's like you have to make a choice. It's really hard to make it when you're struggling and, you're trying to provide a roof over your head. You got kids and...
If it seems expensive to care for your pet, it's because it is. Over the past decade, the cost of veterinary care has gone up 60%. And in the past year alone, it's gone up at 2.5 times the rate of everyday items like food or gas.
Veterinary costs are skyrocketing, just like human medical costs.
Planned Parenthood CEO CJ Bentley says pet food, medication, and supply costs have all gone up. And private equity firms have started buying up independent veterinary practices. The for-profit model means more pet owners have to make hard decisions to afford care.
If something happened to one of them and I could not afford to provide care, what would I do? What would I do?
Butler says sadly, people are choosing to euthanize pets if they can't afford care or surrender them to already overcrowded shelters.
There's this stigma about people who relinquish pets to shelters, and they're not all jerks. They're really nice, decent people who are trying to do what's best for their animal.
Butler says the solution is preventative care at low-cost clinics like Planned Parenthood in Duluth.
But we could tackle it as a community before the animals get to the shelter. Let's stop overcrowding by keeping pets with the families who love them and not making a cost to veterinary care a barrier.
Planned Parenthood depends on grants and donations to keep their costs low and families together.
Animals need people to love them and care for them. So when you have to choose between paying for something and saving the life of your animal, it's crazy. It's very crazy.
Reporting in Duluth, Caitlin Ross.
This is what has manifested. Don't vaccinate your dogs and cats. Any animal. Don't do it. It's one of the reasons why we now have pets with human diseases. All right. We got to help one another. We have to help one another. We have to help one another. Somehow we've got to help one another. In your communities, help those in need. start a fund in your community, just for your community members, to help them out. Remember them when you're shopping for food, you know, the food banks, the animal shelters, foster an animal. Yeah, it is what we need to be doing. It is up to us individually, and of course, the individual in the aggregate, to manifest something different here. You know, move away from the satanic, greedy system into what I guess a whole lot of people believe that they're living. They're delusional, but hey, you know, into the good, into goodness. Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. And on that note, be safe. Let's see if we're still blasting. Yes, we are. We are still blasted. This has been going on for hours. All right. Right into where I'm living. You guys in Nevada and Utah, Colorado, Wyoming. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Do stay safe. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.